Verbal or life.
And welcome to Verbal on Life. My name is Noel, battling MS, and doing my best here to be verbal on life. Talk about the things that are happening and to hear your comments. So, comment below if you haven't subscribed to this channel. Go ahead and subscribe, but put your opinion out there because we got to talk about this. In this episode, we're going to talk about something that the media is not really investing too much time on, and it's the fact that Haiti is becoming a failed state. The country is just collapsing in front of our eyes. On this side of the world, because why are politicians sending billions to Ukraine when we need those resources on this side of the world, like to help support Haiti and not help support them by sending them money? They need more than that. If you're going to send Haiti money, it got to be to like the people that are going to go down there to help them out, to try to become a more secure country. But you know what? Let's take a look at a clip that talks about what's really happening in Haiti. And I want you guys to be verbal on life and write down what you're thinking. All right, here we go. Because we're living in some crazy times right now. How am I going to put this? Now I'm going to use... little technical difficulties. Let's go this way. Let me see what this looks like.
Haiti, a country of nearly 12 million people in the Caribbean, is on the brink of total state collapse. Around 200 different heavily armed gangs have managed to seize control over large swaths of the country's territory and are operating with near impunity, while some of the more heavily armed gangs that are more similar to paramilitaries have managed to seize control over as much as 90% of Haiti's capital and largest city, Port-au-Prince. These gangs have been able to completely overpower what little is left in the country of the former Haitian government. Some of the larger and more heavily armed ones have even managed to establish roadblocks and checkpoints between Port-au-Prince and the country's largest airport, and between Port-au-Prince and the country's primary maritime ports and oil terminals. By doing so, they have, in effect, become capable of holding the entire country as a hostage.
This is what a country that's collapsing looks like. This is really happening in real time.
Speak of that's actually capable of fighting back against them, because there aren't even any elected government officials remaining in the country at all now. The most recently elected president of Haiti, Jovenel Moïse, was assassinated 2.5 years ago now, back in July of 2021, by still unidentified gunmen who raided his own private residence. In fact, no elections of any kind have been held in Haiti since 2016, nearly 8 years ago now.
This is the worst situation that could happen to any country.
Supposed to take place in 2019. His choice to delay those elections.
How can they have even elections in Haiti? You go in there, you're going to have to go in there with guns and lots of men to fight.
Under deeply suspicious circumstances. The gunmen who murdered him are assumed to continue remaining at large, while Haiti's own governmental investigation into the matter has been extremely slow going. A fact that appears very suspicious when you consider that nearly 2 days before Moïse was assassinated, Moïse had appointed a man named Ariel Henry to become the country's next prime minister. Then, 2 days later, Moïse was killed in his home, and Ariel Henry rose to power as Haiti's new acting president.
Shooting a president, a country's president, that's just insane.
It has also continually delayed elections in the country for the past 2.5 years, meaning that since no new president has ever been elected and every single member in the Senate's terms have all been allowed to expire, Henry has been acting as Haiti's de facto leader this whole entire time, without ever being elected or approved by the Senate to do so. There have been multiple accusations ever since that Henry was directly involved in the plot to assassinate Moïse so that he could seize power in the country for himself, including accusations that have come from Haiti's chief prosecutor. And then, nearly 2 months after Moïse's suspicious assassination rocked Haiti politically, a devastating 7.2 magnitude earthquake struck Haiti's Tiburon Peninsula in August of 2021 that would rock Haiti even further. That disaster would kill around 2,250 people in the country and injure more than 12,000 others.
That's crazy. And the only thing that people do, or the politicians do, is send money to Haiti to help them out, which I think is the wrong solution.
So,
money's not the cure for all the problems.
2021, Haiti witnessed their elected president get assassinated, then a catastrophic earthquake that caused significant financial and human destruction, and on top of those, a new unelected and unratified leader who rose to power under these circumstances and who became immediately viewed by the majority of Haitians as completely illegitimate. It was the perfect opportunity for many of Haiti's heavily armed gangs, many of which consisted of former members of the Haitian police, to begin seizing advantage of the power vacuum and the chaos to carve out their own areas of influence through force. Violence of all kinds within Haiti has therefore skyrocketed ever since 2021, largely as a result of the gang war that has been raging across the country's capital city, with the United Nations reporting that more than 3,000 people in Haiti have been killed by
People die like in the thousands. Look at that. That's insane. How can you live there?
one of the most violent ongoing conflicts in the entire world right now, with a comparable number of deaths from warfare in 2023 as happened in Yemen. As a result, in July of 2023, the Biden administration of the United States urged all American citizens to immediately leave from Haiti and to not travel to the country under any circumstances until further notice, as Haiti continues to collapse into increasingly violent.
You know, why are they sending money to Ukraine, sending billions of dollars to help Ukraine? And things like these are happening here on this side of the world. This is insane. Instead of sending all those billions of dollars to Ukraine, how about we figure out how to help out Haiti? They're right on our sides of the world.
Whatever makeshift boats or water-capable crafts they've been able to get their hands on, which has recently made Haitians one of the largest nationalities of people being encountered by the United States Border Patrol ever since. Due to the fact that the various gangs in Haiti currently control an estimated 90% of the capital and largest city in the country, and the government has completely lost its monopoly on force, the unelected Ariel Henry administration has been repeatedly requesting and at times pleading for a foreign armed intervention into the country to crush the power of the gangs and to
Exactly. Armed intervention, not money. Money's not going to solve this problem.
restore the power and authority of the government across the whole country. After which, Henry has promised to finally host the terminally delayed elections in Haiti again. On the 2nd of October 2023, his frequent requests for this foreign intervention were finally granted, after the United Nations Security Council passed a resolution authorizing yet another armed intervention into Haiti. As the details currently stand now, as of December 2023, the United States will be largely funding the intervention with more than $100 million, while the East African nation of Kenya will be taking the lead of the intervention with boots on the ground. They will be
$100 million. Again, they're sending billions to Ukraine.
and restoring the authority of the Haitian government. And they'll be assisted by smaller numbers of troops deployed from the neighboring Caribbean countries of Jamaica, the Bahamas, and Antigua and Barbuda. But this latest intervention into Haiti going on right now is only the most recent one in a very, very long history of foreign interventions into the country that have gone back centuries. None of which have ever succeeded in establishing the conditions to prevent another intervention from becoming necessary again in the future. Out of the past 108 years of history, going back to 1915, Haiti has seen the presence of foreign troops deployed to its soil for 41 of those years, or about 38% of the time.
This is crazy.
Recently in 1994, and then again between 2004 and 2019, and soon to be yet again in 2023 and likely 2024.
What do you guys think about this whole Haitian country or the Haitian state collapsing in front of our eyes? Comment down below.
Doing so. The current crisis going on in Haiti is, however, arguably the worst in the country's entire modern history, as Haiti currently stands on the precipice of becoming the only truly failed state in the Western Hemisphere, on a par with the likes of Myanmar, Sudan, or Afghanistan.
Again, this is a country on the Western Hemisphere. Am I saying it right? That needs help. Stop sending billions to Ukraine, in my opinion. Come on now.
As measured by 2023's edition of the Fragile States Index. And as Haiti collapses further into anarchy and violence, and the United Nations intervention led by Kenya and funded by the United States comes to try and restore order to the country again, Haiti's only geographic neighbor by land right next door, the Dominican Republic, or DR, is building a new Great Wall along their entire length of shared border to separate themselves from the Haitians even more than they already are.
They got a border. Why Trump cannot build the border here in the United States? The idea of border makes complete sense.
The Dominicans began the wall's construction in February of 2023, as the gang war in Haiti was escalating. And when it's finished, it will be the second longest wall anywhere in the Americas, remaining only behind the length of the US-Mexico border wall. It'll be 4 meters high and made up of 20 centimeter thick concrete, and topped with metal mesh to prevent people from climbing over it. More than 70 watchtowers are planned to be constructed along the wall, while dozens of gates will be built into it to enable Dominican soldiers to carry out patrols. The wall will include drones, cameras, radars, motion sensors, and fiber optic cables for communications that are all designed to block anyone the Dominicans don't want from the Haitian side from being able to cross over the border. And once it's completed, the wall will effectively transform Haiti and the Dominican Republic into two completely separate islands, despite them each sharing the same geographic island. And despite the fact that they've shared this same island for centuries,
a country without a wall is not a country. Or a country without a border is not a country.
May as well already be in completely different worlds. In nominal terms, the Dominican Republic's economy is 4.5 times larger than Haiti's, while in purchasing power parity terms, the Dominican Republic's economy is 7 times larger than Haiti's, despite the two countries having a roughly comparable population. This further means that when it comes to GDP per capita, Dominicans are on average 5 to 8 times wealthier than Haitians are next door, with citizens of the Dominican Republic being more comparable to countries like Serbia or Argentina, and citizens of Haiti being more comparable to countries like Rwanda and Uganda. In terms of poverty, about 58% of Haitians live on less than $3.65 a day, making Haiti one of only 6 countries worldwide outside of sub-Saharan Africa where the majority of the population continues to live under poverty.
That's crazy.
3% of the Dominican Republic's population still lives in poverty, while Dominicans also live around a decade longer than Haitians do. 98% of the Dominican Republic's population have access to electricity, while only 47% of Haitians do, which, once again, makes Haiti one of only 2 countries anywhere in the world outside of sub-Saharan Africa, where the majority of the population still doesn't have any access to electricity. Haiti is on the brink of becoming a failed state, with runaway violence and is one of the most hopelessly impoverished countries in the world, while the Dominican Republic, right next door, is on the cusp of transitioning into a high-income, fully developed country by the end of the decade in 2030. If Haiti remains more or less in the same state as it is now by then, there will probably be no other greater disparity in the entire world across borders by levels of development and income, other than the Saudi and Oman borders with Yemen and the South Korea, Russia, China borders with North Korea. So how did this very unique situation on this island develop in the first place? Why did Haiti and the Dominican Republic, despite existing together on the same island for centuries and having a very
That's a great mystery. Let's hear what he says.
so vastly different from one another and so separate from each other? Some of the factors that explain this difference today are historical reasons, but they don't explain the whole picture. You see, the island that they both exist on, Hispaniola, was initially colonized by the Spanish, but it was first legally divided in 1697 by the Treaty of Ryswick that formally established a Spanish colony in the eastern 2/3 of the island and a French colony in the western third, though the borders between them were slightly different than they are today. From the very beginning of this division of the island, though, the French and the Spanish treated their separate colonies on either side radically differently. The Spanish ended up pursuing a policy that was more focused on settler colonialism over on their side, with more limited amounts of slavery by the standards of the time. By the end of the 18th century, the modern Dominican Republic, still under Spanish colonial rule, only had a population of about 104,000 people, only 30,000 of whom were enslaved people from Africa. And meanwhile, the French over on their side of the island treated things extremely different. They pursued a policy of historically enormous exploitation, the likes of which have hardly ever been seen before or since. It's estimated that across the 18th century alone, the French forcibly transported approximately 800,000 Africans from their continent to modern-day Haiti as slaves, a figure that represents nearly double the number of African slaves brought to the entire North American continent during the entirety of the North Atlantic slave trade. By 1789, on the eve of the French Revolution, it's estimated that Haiti's population was around 556,000 people, which was a little more than 5 times the total population of the neighboring Spanish colonial Dominican Republic. But only
This is like a quick history lesson to where all this chaos come from. It makes a whole lot of sense.
freed people of color, and an estimated 500,000 Africans and their descendants bound in the chains of slavery, outnumbering their white colonial masters by a ratio of nearly 16-1. France used all of these slaves as their labor source to work across the vast sugar and coffee plantations that they set up all across the island, which for a time made Haiti the most lucrative and financially valuable colony in the entire world, for the people who actually dominated it so ruthlessly. By 1789, roughly half of all the sugar and coffee that was being consumed in Europe came from the slave plantations of Haiti, and they helped to make the French kingdom the wealthiest in Europe at the time. Haiti would also become independent decades before the Dominican Republic would, and through far more violent circumstances. In the midst of the chaos of the French Revolution, the slaves of Haiti, who vastly outnumbered their colonial masters, rose up in a violent revolution of their own in 1791. Across the next 13 years, both the Haitian slaves and the colonial French engaged in a brutal genocidal war of annihilation against the other, wherein an estimated 200,000 Haitians would die, and virtually the
Why does it feel like the politicians are just ignoring this, ignoring the truth about how far Haiti has come and how it's about to collapse? They need our help. Otherwise, they're done.
refusing to recognize Haiti's independence for decades. And although Haiti had paid dearly with blood for their sovereignty between 1791 and 1804, they weren't finished paying for their sovereignty with treasure yet, and they wouldn't be for a very long time. In 1825, French warships showed up outside the Haitian capital, Port-au-Prince. They gave the Haitians only two options. One, they could accept a deal in which France would finally recognize Haiti's independence in exchange for Haiti agreeing to financially compensate France for their loss of property experienced during the Haitian Revolution, including France's loss of their hundreds of thousands of former slaves, which France asserted was 150 million francs. Haiti could either accept this backwards deal or refuse and take option 2. War, and then the French warships sitting in the harbor would simply blow up everything they could in Port-au-Prince. With a gun pointed to their head, Haiti selected option 1 and agreed to pay their former colonial slave masters for their own freedom that they had already paid for with blood.
That's a crazy deal. Because who the hell is going to go against what they are saying if they have a whole military Navy force outside?
A century afterwards, as they struggled paying it back. With meager resources of their own and a continued lack of international recognition beyond France that limited their trade opportunities, the Haitians were in no financial position to pay back France's indemnity that was forced upon them. They then resorted to several desperate measures to help pay back the debt.
This is like negotiating with a maniac that has a gun and you don't have a gun. And if you don't accept their deal, they're going to kill you. So it looks like a deal that they had no choice but to accept. Otherwise, they were going to fail anyway.
Was then forced into taking out several predatory loans from French banks to help pay off their original 1825 indemnity that was forced upon them by the French government, which transformed their original debt into effectively a double debt. The original indemnity plus all of the interest on the loans that they were then forced to take out in order to pay the original indemnity. Haiti's government coffers were
All right. This is a good history lesson so that everybody understands where everything comes from, where this whole problem came from, and why the Haitian state is not developing, or part of the reason. But you know what? Let me fast forward a little bit on the video. I think it's good, but let's move on.
continued. CIC created Haiti's first central bank in 1880, but it was a bank that people in Haiti and 11.3 million people in the Dominican Republic. However, despite the two having very similar levels of demographic growth and very similar total population sizes, Haiti is only about half of the Dominican Republic's geographic size, which means that Haiti has always been significantly more densely populated than the Dominican Republic has been. In fact, out of all the countries in the world today with more than 1 million people, Haiti is one of the most densely populated anywhere, with an average density that's roughly identical to the Netherlands. Other than little Barbados, Haiti is the most densely populated country in the Western Hemisphere today, with a significantly higher density than all of its immediate neighbors. But density all on its own doesn't imply poverty. In fact, higher population densities appear to correlate more with greater wealth generation worldwide, not less. Out of the top 15 densest countries with more than 1 million people in the world, roughly half of them are considered to be highly developed economies. Most of them are fairly middle of the road, and only 3 of them are considered to be least developed countries. And only Haiti among those 3 is located outside of sub-Saharan Africa. Within Haiti's unique geographic setting, however, higher population density works against it in the sense that Haiti is also one of the most uniquely vulnerable locations in the world to frequent natural disasters of many different kinds. Both sides of Hispaniola are very frequently battered by tropical storms and hurricanes, being that Hispaniola is placed in the Western Atlantic and the Caribbean, which is one of the most hurricane-prone locations in the world.
All right.
The entire Haitian GDP at the time. The Brazilian-led MINUSTA, still present in Haiti from the 2004 rebellion and coup, was forced into extending their stay for longer in the country in order to deal with the sheer...
You know, one of the problems that I got with Haiti and the Dominican Republic is that they're in the center of the world in terms of they're always hot It's 100% always summertime in Haiti and in the Dominican Republic. It's so hot that I can't even stand being there. I cannot stand living under the sun. It's really scary to be there. And that's part of the reason I didn't move to the Dominican Republic. By the way, I'm Dominican. Well, my parents are Dominican. I was born in the United States. And I did at one point think that I was going to just retire to the Dominican Republic because it's so cheap. But because it's so hot, I cannot even go down there. I can't stand that heat. So I don't know how Haitian can stand that heat.
Become infected by cholera, while 10,000 of them would die from the disease. And then, as the cholera outbreak was raging and the country was still reeling from the catastrophe of the 2010 earthquake, came Hurricane Matthew in October of 2016.
So many natural disasters happened in Haiti. Earthquake, hurricane, the heat, to the unbearable weather.
$2.8 billion more in economic damages, destroyed more than 200,000 people's homes, and exacerbated the country's still ongoing cholera epidemic even further. MINUSTA would finally withdraw from Haiti in 2019. Assassination and the rise of Henry, the southern fault line running through Haiti triggered again and caused another catastrophic earthquake in Haiti's Tiburon Peninsula that killed more than 2,200 people and caused another $1.7 billion in estimated economic damage. And that is what established the conditions for the gangs in Haiti to begin carving out their control of about 90% of the country's capital. Haiti's current status as a failing state, and the United Nations deciding that yet another armed intervention into the country was necessary just a few months ago. This time, however, the Biden administration in Washington decided that the United States would not be the one leading the intervention on the ground, because of how badly all of the past several U.S. interventions into the country have all gone. After approaching Canada and Brazil, who each refused to lead the mission, Washington eventually turned to Kenya to lead this latest intervention.
All the way from Africa, the other side of the world. That's crazy.
And, more importantly, the Biden administration was able to convince them to lead this new intervention into Haiti by putting up $100 million worth of funding to cover it, in addition to agreeing on a 5-year defense cooperation agreement with Kenya.
This is something that only politicians could deal with. That's it. The only way to deal with this is to send in the military. Politicians got to say, hey, let's try to fix this problem. If the United States is so much into fixing other people's problems, because right now, again, sending money to Ukraine makes no sense when we got this problem on our hemisphere. So this is something that politicians got to hear about.
The gangs who currently dominate the city and restore the authority back to the Haitian government so that elections, continually delayed ever since 2016, can finally take place again. But doubts abound as to how successful this Kenyan-led intervention into Haiti will actually end up being.
Election. Who the hell cares about election? How about we fix the country?
There are fears that Kenya's intervention might end up just strengthening the power of one gang in Haiti that happens to have ties to the Haitian government and police that will end up dominating over all of the others. And while the Kenyans, backed by American funding, might be able to restore the Haitian government's security sovereignty, two things that they won't be able to restore to Haiti on their own will be the country's monetary sovereignty and its safety from continued natural disasters. In total, natural disasters in Haiti between 2010 and the present have caused around $14 billion worth of economic damage to the country and have continued hobbling Haiti's ability to develop. While the last time that a major natural disaster hit the Dominican Republic was Hurricane George back in 1998, that caused more than $9.3 billion in damage. But there have been very negligible natural disasters that have happened to the Dominican Republic ever since. Ultimately, without the same deforestation problem, without the same high levels of population density, and without the same levels of crippling economic lost opportunities from the colonial era that Haiti has endured,
once upon a time, I used to travel to the Dominican Republic like 2 to 3 times a year just to visit, enjoy the fact that everything was so cheap. In comparison, like every dollar is 50 Dominican pesos. So you're like automatically rich by going from America to the Dominican Republic. And another reason to be more careful when you got money.
Visited the Dominican Republic, making it the most popular tourist destination in the entire Caribbean, and even within the top 5 most popular tourist destinations in all of the Americas. Tourism now accounts for nearly 12% of the Dominican Republic's entire GDP, and it's become one of the country's leading industries. But Haiti, because of its terrible poverty, frequent disasters, and chronic internal instability and violence, has long struggled to attract the same levels of tourism as its neighbor. As recently as 2018, though, Haiti was still able to successfully pull around 1.3 million tourists to the country and earned around $620 million in the process. But ever since the COVID-19 pandemic began and this most recent...
How can a tourist go over there and just fear for their life? Because that's another thing. When Americans go to another country, they still think they got free speech and they could complain and talk. Where in the Dominican Republic, if you complain too much, you will get murked. Like if you're local from that area, if you're a tourist, you will get robbed.
Many of the same geographic, historic, and cultural appeals to tourism that the Dominican Republic has. But it just has the chronic instability, poverty, and natural disaster issues that the Dominican Republic doesn't. And so, tourism towards the Dominican Republic continues growing year after year in a sort of positive feedback loop, while tourism towards Haiti...
Right now, the rapper, just want to mention this, the rapper 6ix9ine is visiting the Dominican Republic. And he's been there for a couple of months. Even found himself a girlfriend over there. And that guy's brave just to move over there.
More mineral wealth discovered than Haiti has, which includes the location of what's literally the largest and most profitable gold mine in all of Latin America, and the 13th largest gold mine discovered in the entire world, the Pueblo Viejo mine. This single huge gold mine currently represents about 2% of the Dominican Republic's entire GDP now. And it's become the country's single largest corporate taxpayer, having paid more than $2.6 billion in taxes just between 2013 and 2020. By contrast, Haiti has exactly 0 existing mines currently in operation, and there haven't ever been any discoveries made in the country that are as significant as Pueblo Viejo in the Dominican Republic. The Dominican Republic has been able to use their excess tax revenues from their booming tourism and mining sectors that are absent in Haiti to reinvest aggressively into education, healthcare, and infrastructure in the country, which has then only compounded the Dominican Republic's economic advantages over Haiti even further. And this is all, in a nutshell, why the Dominican Republic has become so much more prosperous than Haiti has. And with yet another foreign intervention into Haiti looming, it's unclear what, if anything, could end up fixing Haiti permanently in the future. Some arguments have been made that in order to fix Haiti for good, the country's economic sovereignty should be finally restored to it, at the same time as the country's security sovereignty is restored. The argument goes that the French government who initially extorted Haiti with the indemnity in 1825, along with the American government and the banks like CIC and Citibank who profited off of the indemnity later, should finally honor the demands made by Jean-Bertrand Aristide in 2003 by setting up a reparations payment to Haiti totaling $21 billion, an amount that is still greater than the entire Haitian GDP. Without it, they argue, Haiti will continue not being able to invest in themselves and develop themselves. And
it's crazy how the Dominican Republic is flourishing and Haiti is not. But you know what? If you're still watching, thank you for joining me. My name is Noel. Here at Verbal on Life, just trying to bring more awareness as to what's going on out there. And in that issue between Haiti, the Dominican Republic, well, they don't have an issue in terms of each other. But the fact that the Dominican is prospering while the Haitian state is just failing and it's about to collapse, that's something to talk about. You know, real quick, my experience with the Dominican Republic. So I was going to retire. I'm 45, by the way. Right now, I'm retired. I don't work anymore. And one of my plans at one point was to retire in the Dominican Republic. But now, I'm never in my life going to the Dominican Republic. Because over there, if you get killed, you just got killed. It's another country. It's not even America. Over there, the strong survive, in my opinion. So that's what I'm personally, I'm scared of going to the Dominican Republic based on that fact alone. The fact that outside of the United States, the rules are completely different. You can forget about fairness. That's not even a real word. You talk about fairness, that'll get you killed. That's how crazy it is. I mean, I've gotten the opportunity, by the way, to visit Italy France, the Dominican Republic. I've been to Germany. That was a beautiful trip. And Amsterdam. And did I mention Spain? Went to Spain for a week. And then the Dominican Republic. I've never been to Haiti. I've been to the border where you could see Haiti from the Dominican Republic side. But in traveling, I think that's when you can really say there's no better country than the United States. You know, with everything that's happening, with everything that's going on, you could forget about fairness and you could forget about people treating you a certain way in other countries. You know, here the law works a little better. It does a little more for its citizens. And that's why, we got to close that border. So AOC complaining about the fact that we don't treat the illegal migrants correctly. No. I think that they should put up a border. Illegal migrants, they should be sent back, applied to come into America, and then we'll talk about how to treat you, following rules. Because a country without border is a country without rules. And little by little, it's being more obvious the fact that these illegal migrants are just destroying what's happening here in America. So comment below. Let me know what you think. And what do you think about this Haiti situation? This border mess between us and, this border mess, between us and Mexico, and the border problem between Haiti and the Dominican Republic. What's one way that we should solve this problem? Although, like I said, only the government could solve this problem. And it's not by sending money, but by sending armed forces to deal with the maniacs over there that also got guns. I'm wondering who's funding those people because they got to eat. Who's paying for everything? For the food, for the weapons? Like, are they just robbing and stealing? How do the banks work over there? Because they got to have their own currency. Are the bad guys going in there and taking over their currency and just taking over the bank and printing all the money they want? That sounds crazy. How do you deal with not having an economy or the printing press to print out money? As a matter of fact, I should have gotten some Haitian dollars. That's one way to take over, right? So we got the banks, we got the police. They opened up all the jail system and let all the thugs out, all the criminals out. And I mean, if you think about jail, what's jail, right? It's holding this group of men and you got to feed them, you got to treat them medically, and you got to make sure they're okay while they're locked up. So the idea of jail doesn't make too much sense in terms of Haiti. So I guess thank you for opening the jail cells and letting everybody out because they got to eat. They got to live. But at the same time, there's more criminals. And maybe some of those criminals will sneak into America. That would be horrible, worst case scenario. But the way things are looking now with open borders, they might be able to get in here. And then there's a whole other problem. People are being more aware and honest about the failed state. But that's just my opinion. And if you stuck around this far ahead, I'm going to chop this video up into smaller pieces. So I guess how do I want to start this? I want to start by saying, hello, my name is Noel, battling MS. Welcome to Rebel on Life. I can't believe I've been recording for the 33 minutes. So all my energy is being drained because I'm not used to carrying a live for this long. The more I talk, the better, because I'm personally seeing how my abilities are just weathering away. I could barely walk, could barely talk for long periods of time. But as long as I can talk, I will. Okay? I wanted to share a story with YouTube and with streams because I got so many stories. One of my biggest issues is being a good judge of character, right? Me giving people an opportunity. I've been in a situation where I give people opportunity and they don't take advantage. Instead, they try to take away from me. Like, that's their way of looking at the opportunity. Not to better themselves, but how can I steal from this guy? How can I take money away from Noel? So, that's come with a lot of stumps in the road, a lot of problems. having to deal with people that are ungrateful, and a lot of lessons learned. So, starting this YouTube channel, hopefully, I get to share my stories with everybody and let you know it hasn't all been bad. You know, I was able to buy a house in retirement. Now I get to live here. I got a basement and a first floor and a main floor. This is a 3-floor house. Can't complain. So I try to do that every day. Matter of fact, every day when I wake up, the first thing that I like to say is, I can walk. I can still walk here. Be grateful for those little things. The fact that I can still walk, it's insane to me. Because if you know anything about MS, by the way, multiple sclerosis is MS. Yes, I am dealing with multiple sclerosis. You know what it is to get diagnosed with something that you have no idea what it is? So when the doctor sat with me and says, I think you got multiple sclerosis, I was like, what? At least it's not ALS. ALS, you lose your ability to move, to walk and talk, but then eventually you die within 5 years. So when I got diagnosed with MS, I asked the doctor, okay, so how much time do I have? Am I going to die? So the doctor says, yes, you will die, but hopefully it won't be because of MS. You know, people are living longer with MS. So it's not one of those things that'll get you killed. It does suck that with MS, eventually you do end up in bed, like paralyzed from the neck down, where you can't even move or get up. So I don't know how I'm going to deal with that. The fact that I won't be able to get up or walk, that's scary. So the only thing that I got to go by is I hope that they find a cure, you know, for MS, or something that'll help people with MS walk and talk. That's why, like, I applaud Elon Musk brain chip, because it's all about communication between the brain and the rest of your body. The signal is not traveling how it's supposed to travel. So with MS, Elon Musk is building that chip so you can communicate with the rest of your body. And if that works, I'm signing up for that, because that's what's lacking in my situation, is the communication between the brain and the rest of the body. Like if I want to move my fingers, it looks so easy, but it's not. A lot of information is traveling, whatever, through the nerves to get this happening. I think when you're normal, you don't see it because you just walk. What are you talking about? But for me, it's a lot. So I never talked about what I did when I got first diagnosed, right? When I got diagnosed, I got the best job in the world in my field, where I was making $100,000. I was divorced. I was married for 5 years and I had a son. So when I got diagnosed with MS, I went home and I just told my wife, it's over. We're breaking up. This is the end of this relationship, because I cannot live like this. Like, we were going through some issues. And I said, the doctor says I only got a couple of more years to be able to walk. You know, I'm not going to die, but you might see a wheelchair, which I use a wheelchair now to go to restaurants. So I told my first wife, okay, we're going to have to break up. Wish you the best. And hopefully, you know, she got married to some other guy. And I'm keeping my son. So I kept my son, divorced my wife, and she started a whole new relationship. She was calling me saying, give me my son back. And I said, I have another one. That's awful, but women are the ones that can have kids. God bless all women. So we got to that situation. And I was 36 when I got diagnosed. So I got diagnosed. As soon as I got diagnosed, I got fired from my job because nobody really hires disabled people. So because I just got recently diagnosed, my job just quickly, before the law works in my favor, I got fired and my wife left me and I moved to a new apartment because let's keep it moving. But I didn't quit in terms of my life. You know, I just kept working forward. And my son is 14 now. He lives with me. And here we are, starting my own YouTube channel, up to 1,634 subscribers. I lost one today. I had 1,635. But shout out to those of you who tune in, click on that subscribe button, and help me push forward. So I guess that was a brief history of me getting diagnosed at 36. After 5 years of marriage, that ended. My wife said, I'm not dealing with this man with MS. I ended up losing my job, moving out, and just starting all over. Now we live in retirement off of Social Security. Thank God I paid all those taxes, right? I think I'm losing my speech here. This is the longest I've done, 40 minutes. With that said, comment down below. I want to come on here and tell you a different story every time I come on here on live. That was my story of me getting divorced. That's it. Once you become disabled, that's another thing. People just walk away from you, right? Everybody says, okay, you are disabled. And they slowly, just nice and calmly walk away from you. But I don't know. I feel like, thank God I trained myself to say, you know what? I respect you. I hope the best for you. Not for me, for everybody. And that's it. Push forward. I'm going to be fine. You're going to be, hopefully you're fine. That's it. Not give up. I think that's going to be my story for today. Again, getting diagnosed at 36, divorced, remarried, raised my son, and let's keep talking. With that said, I'm moving on. Peace. See you guys in the next video. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe.